10 years ago, I made a game in Zelda Classic called the Slipstream. It was for the 2-week quest contest in the summer of 2015. And as of today, obviously, if you do the math, it is now 2025. And at the time of this recording, we are very quickly approaching the 10-year anniversary date of the release of Slipstream, as of August 14th as its original release. And so we're going to do a developer commentary for it in celebration of the 10 years. And here is the original post for it. It was originally made in ZC 2.5.1, a very old version of the. We're now approaching the final build of or the official build rather of 3.0, and a lot of things have changed in ZC since then. But yeah, so in the land of Glenridge, there lay a terror in space called the Slipstream. Whatever brave or foolish soul entered into it did not return. For years it lay dormant until it became unstable and monsters began to emerge from it. They began attacking villages, kidnapping people, and throwing them into the Slipstream's vortex. Until it began I've never noticed this typo. That's crazy. I've never noticed that before. I guess maybe no one else did either. I don't know. You are Hirota. The people closest to you have been kidnapped, and you have willingly jumped into the vortex to save them. Travel through 8 miniature realms throughout the treacherous Slipstream in this Metroidvania adventure. Alright. And one other note to make, we are going to be playing on the definitive edition of Slipstream, which actually released in 2019, on August 16th, which was actually like kind of coincidental that it was so close to the actual anniversary. Only a 2-day difference. But we are going to play on the definitive edition. I'm going to talk about differences between the original contest version and the definitive edition. And there's also a post game in the definitive edition that is not in the original, but at least for now we're going to try to focus on the main story and get through that and showcase all that. And I'll try to talk about anything I remember as we go along here. Oh, and I guess one other thing we can pick up as well, that is, as far as the overall contest results, it did win second to Freedom in Chains, which, by the way, this is actually really good quest. But it also won the Innovation Award, and it also got the Balance Award. So without further ado, let us begin. Also using my old username, Red Tribe Link, as I was back then. Let's begin. Yeah, and the definitive edition, the last version it was made on was version 2.53, and I had to add that little note there for certain compatibility reasons. But in any case, in the country of Glenridge, there lay a powerful terror in space. It was known as the Slipstream. I think this is very similar. People feared this great phenomenon that lay in the center of their world. Brave soul entered into it, did not return. For eons, the Slipstream lay dormant near the peaceful villages. Suddenly, it became unstable, and creatures began to emerge from it. They began attacking villages nearby and throwing people into the vortex. Half of Hirota's village was taken, which included his best friend and grandmother. Ignorant of the people's warnings, Hirota ran towards the Slipstream and jumped in. I did not have that typo in there. I don't think this music that's playing in the background was in the original also. I don't think there was any music in this intro. By entering the Slipstream, you have exposed yourself to the dangers within, but you will have a choice. Are you a simple traveler, a regular explorer, an intense adventurer, or looking for critical and painful suffering? And you can read the descriptions under here. These different difficulty settings were not in the original, but they were added in the definitive edition. So we will play on the normal difficulty, but let's go ahead and read the descriptions. Simple difficulty. With enough determination, you can rise above your enemies and conquer them with great ease. Who says danger can't be relaxing? Take 75% damage and enemies will move slightly slower. And this is the normal difficulty. Your enemies are evenly matched and fun to fight, so simple bravery will bring you to victory. And this is just normal. Intense. Your enemies are out for your blood and will stop at nothing to get it. Only a true adventurer will even stand a chance. Take 200% damage, so you take 2 times damage here. If that wasn't bad enough, we have critical mode. Your enemies are bloodthirsty and ready to bathe in your suffering. Only a fool would endure such a punishment as this. And so here you take 250% damage. Enemies have more HP, and you are also increase in saltiness as the playthrough goes on. But for our purposes here, we shall play on the normal difficulty. Alright, part 1. The part 1 was also not in the original as well. Ugh, what happened? Where am I? Just relax. You had quite a crash landing earlier. You're in the Slipstream. What's your name? My name is Hirota. What's your name? Is this really the Slipstream? I'm Zephos. This is just one of the many realms that reside in the Slipstream. This is the Alpha Sector. I was gathering supplies here for my refuge camp in the Echo Sector. You're free to join us in our fight for survival. As good as that sounds, I actually came in here to find my best friend and grandmother, who were kidnapped by beings from here. You willingly jumped into the Slipstream to save someone? You're either really brave or really stupid. Either way, you should come to our camp. It's a dangerous world out there, so I would suggest becoming prepared before you venture out. Sounds good. How do we get there? You'll need these two tools to travel back and forth between town and this sector. The orb takes you to town. The crystal takes you back to your previous location. Use the orb by pressing EX4. See you at town. Yo, Thom, how's it going? Look forward to, I mean, you never know what could happen. You never know. I mean, yeah, you never know. So here we have the ability to change your difficulty if you so desire. So we have the crystal as an actual item, and if you press the EX4 button, like the old man said, we will warp to town. That actually used to be its own item, but due to it looking very similar to another item that was commonly used, I ended up mapping it on the EX4 button. Which, I mean, was a better decision anyways. This crystal is technically the Furor's Wind item in ZC, and it's mainly just to get you out of town, or maybe get you unstuck from places where you might possibly get stuck. I mean, there's very rare instances of that, but, you know, just in case. Welcome to our refuge. We may not be much, but we do what we can to survive. I bet. It looks like you guys have endured a lot. They sure have. Slipstream's very dangerous. Talk to me anytime you need some of my homemade bombs. That is, if you can carry any. I need these later. Thanks. But we do not have the ability to carry bombs, so we have no bombs. Here. Welcome to the leveling shop. Here you can upgrade your level with the current currency, pocket watches. In order to start leveling up, you need to find 10 pocket watches around the Slipstream. When that's done, you'll be given an item to start your journey. Interesting. Maybe I can look where Zephos was getting supplies earlier. Yeah, so we need 10 stopwatches or pocket watches. I think I'm inconsistent with the naming for pocket watches and stopwatches actually. But in any case, so yeah, basically the stopwatches are the main currency instead of rupees or coins or whatever. The idea for the stopwatches actually came from an old quest I was making in Zelda Classic that was Majora's Mask based quest that never got finished. But in that game I was using stopwatches as currency because, you know, it fit with time and whatnot. But I think I ended up deciding to just move it to this game, and even though like the stopwatches technically might fit better in a Majora's Mask game, I wanted something unique for the currency for this game, since I was trying to make this very mostly non-Zelda-esque. So I ended up using the stopwatch. So there's also a cool item associated with the stopwatch, which we will see later. We need to be at certain levels to get into these rooms. And speaking of that also, we need to be level 3 to get into the shop. And I even make a note about it here. And I use the word stopwatch too here. Yeah, so yeah, I think I use these words interchangeably. Stopwatches, pocket watches. Sure. Alright, so this is where we learn about the game's elemental system, which back in the day when this was first made, there weren't very many PC games at all that really used like its own elemental system. So doing something like this was definitely a bit more unique back then. Each enemy and item are assigned an element which determines their weaknesses and strengths. Whatever the color of the item or enemy is determines what the element is. Red is radiant, blue is aquatic, green is kinetic, purple is sliptonite. Fire, water, energy, and slipstream materials. The graph behind me shows what types will do most damage against certain enemy types. Using other elements will do half damage. Using an item to an enemy with the same element becomes neutral and blocks it. So yeah, basically, all these elements are weak to the other one and vice versa. And if you use any other one other than the one listed here, so like say you use electric, the green one on the blue one instead, it'll do half damage. And if you hit an enemy with the same color as your item, then it doesn't do anything. So you either will do a lot of damage to an enemy, or with other weapons you do half damage, and if you use the same color, it blocks it. So there's a consistent system in terms of enemy combat here, which encourages you to use multiple different items. Please make yourself at home here. We are very welcoming to any unfortunate soul that enters the Slipstream. And so with that, we shall use our crystal to go back to where we were. This basically just takes you back to your last respawn point. Take a look around. We have the bushes with a key on them. We're gonna go up here, navigate around, take a good look. We'll go up here. We can't fight any of these enemies. We do not have a weapon. Oh, there's the boss lock and what looks to be the boss key. It does use boss keys to get to the boss of a certain area. Each area will have its own boss to fight. So interesting thing about this. So we have this sign here that says a button such as this one behind you can activate secrets. So that looks like a button. You can step on it and it presses just like a button. Now the reason I'm putting so much emphasis on this is in the original version of Slipstream, this button used to look identical to what was normally considered a peg that you use hammer on, but I was using it as a button instead. And so what happened was people were getting confused and thought they couldn't do anything with that. And so I ended up changing it to an actual button. But to even further like ensure that people understand that it is a button you can step on, I added that sign as well. So double foolproofing the I also let myself get hit during all that commentary. Oh, there's a key we can use on that one bush. And might as well just go back and do this. Get the key on the bush. And with that, we have gotten our 10 stopwatches. So let's go back to town. Message again. Right, and we've reached level 1. We have now started leveling up. You got the Sliptonite candle, a candle that burns the materials of the Slipstream. So yeah, we got our first weapon being a purple weapon, which is of the Slipstream material that's called Sliptonite. And I'm going to cheat a little bit here by using the F6 continue screen to more or less do the same thing as the crystal, but it will heal my health. And so all these enemies have 4 damage, or like 4 HP. They can take 4 hits. All four of the enemy types here are consistent, just to show off the weakness system. Even so, like you notice, I was able to defeat the green enemy in 2 hits as opposed to 4 like the rest of them were, because the purple is strong against green. Or specifically, the Sliptonite is most effective against the kinetic weapons or energy. Here's a map of the area. The maps were not in the original version. This was also added in the Definitive Edition. So if I try to hit this enemy here, that he blocks the attack. Alright, and with defeating these enemies, now that we have the candle, we can make our way down here. Here's the button. Getting more money, and now that we've gotten more money, let's go level up again. So we can use that to spend some more stopwatches to level up some more, and this time we get a magic scroll. Although we won't actually be using magic for a bit. Either way, we have more magic for a later period. So now we've opened up that path to that key. And grab the key and be on our merry way. Which we will go find another keyboard. Alright. I see another path over there. Let's see what happens if we defeat the enemies here. Alright. Our other key bush. And there's our big key. Navigate back here. Rocks. Actually, it would be better just to do this. Now we use our big key here, and we find ourselves at the kinetic Dodongo, which, yeah, the bosses do still use some Zelda enemy names, but in any case, boss is fortunately most weak against the only item we have, so let us just go do damage to him. There we go. So this boss, interesting thing about the bosses were kind of different in the original version because they were using purely the enemy editor in the DC engine. These bosses actually use scripts. Well, they use a template to help make fancier bosses, which did not exist when this game was originally out. But basically, the bosses in the original were a lot more generic and a bit more janky. But now they're like actually proper bosses with some unique attack patterns. Which we'll probably get more into that as we go. But in any case, we got an artifact. Slipstream portals have been ruptured in this area, giving you access to new areas. It seems these metals help me get around here. I might need to find them all in order to know where I'm needing to go. So yeah, when you beat a boss, you get an artifact, and the artifact will open the Slipstream portals. Well, hopefully I don't die here. Maybe I can get some health here. Could cheat again. class. I believe the next level up is going to be 20 stopwatches. Also, yo, John, how's it going? Alright, well, we're going to take this one as our first portal, so let us see what we got. Oh, yep, see, so now we have a completely new area. So we traverse these different themed areas via the Slipstream portals. That go on to our next area here. A little bit more exploring. There's the map. So, interesting thing about the map. So, in ZC, you have two different types of D-maps you can use. And basically what a D-map is, a D-map specifies the different areas that you go to in the game. So, like, this is a D-map, the other area is a D-map. But there's two types you can do. You can have a 16 by 8 one, so it's 16 by 8 screen. So like this is a screen, this is a screen. And you can also have an 8 by 8 version of it too. But I was using the 16 by 8 versions, which are normally used for the overworld or like the outside areas. However, because it was meant for that, the map was a little bit more limited back then, and so it wouldn't let me actually use the map or make it to where the map is hidden until you actually get the map, because I was doing that. So what I ended up doing was having an invisible item that is completely is fully black, and it covers up the map until you actually get the map item. And when you have the map item, it takes away the blank item so that you can actually see the map. That might be a very confusing explanation, but like long story short, I had to do some weird workarounds to get the map to work, and I just walked into that lava. Very good. In any case, let us take this little transit here. Enemies here. To get something out of it. Even though I know what I'm getting out of it, I'm getting a death. That is cool. I will blame it on my yapping. Very good. Yes, Dev dies in his own game too. It happens. That was the bomb item that we will. Fortunately, not all of the enemies respawn back here, so we get a key here. Back. Oh, so we have a key over here. It looks like we can level up, and I do know what we get from leveling up. Next one. So this time we get a life scroll. Our health increases. I believe the next level is going to be 30. Yeah, 30. Very cool. All right. I actually don't want to use this key yet. I'm gonna go get this other key first. Down here. Also, little dev secret here, as is also indicated by the floor tile over there. May or may not be some secret money that we could get out of this. Very much want. Oh dear. We're getting a lot of money, and this is a 10 stopwatch. We basically just got our money back. So here, this little block puzzle here makes it to where I can only get to certain parts of the screen depending on which entrance I go into. So like I can only push these blocks in this formation to get up here. But if I come down through the bottom entrance, I'll be able to get to the right area. Where's the item that will help me defeat you in Mario Golf Super Rush? Oh, I don't need an item for that. That's just pure raw skill. We'll press that button, and then we'll die because I'm reckless. But in any case, we push the button to free the key. It's okay that we died there because that brings us closer to the key. Good money here. Very good RNG on the money. we will heavily take advantage of and go get another level up. Alright, so this level, we unlocked an upgrade, so let's go check it out in the upgrade station. So, go to the left here. We can choose between either faster and farther shooting arrows or a chargeable hammer which stuns surrounding enemies. Now, these are merely upgrades to other items, but we can go ahead and get the upgrades now. So we can either have a bow, or we can either rather have arrows that shoot farther. So when we have the ability to shoot arrows, then we can shoot them even faster. Or we can have a hammer that charges up and stuns enemies. So I think what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to go with this one. I usually go with this one. I feel like both are pretty good and definitely preferable. The next level up is a bit more one-sided, but we will get to that when we get to that. Alright, so now we have 2 keys. This path here. Yeah, we can't defeat this guy because he is purple, and so is our weapon. Now we can get over here, which we couldn't do before. Ow. Okay. Simple combat room. I'm noticing I put you in a number of tight spaces. This was a thing I always kind of felt that maybe could have been improved in the game. Is that maybe there would be a better balance of enemy count versus the have, but I mean that all kind of just. Now we're over here, at the end of the path. And with that, ooh, look at that. We got the aquatic hammer. It may move slow, but it deals a lot of damage to radiant enemies. It also cools rapidly bubbling magma. Yeah, so you might have noticed that some of the magma was bubbling in a slightly different pace than the rest of the lava. That is because, do this. You can soothe the lava. You can also deal one-hit KOs to these enemies. Now we can have a shortcut there to get back, which we actually do. And there are some special cases where the weapon that's strongest against the elemental enemy will actually just kill him in one hit. That's kind of a special case with some enemies. Is this where I want to go? No, actually, this is not where I want to go. I'm actually getting lost. Oh no. No, actually, it's over. I got my ordering mixed up. I'm over here. This key and make our way back. Yeah, so now let's go back. So now we have a nice little shortcut here to get here. Way over here. Ow. Alright, so we have a neat little puzzle here, and if we try to solve this, oh no, that blocks our way to the key. Try that again. Okay, what about this order? Oh no, that doesn't reach though. Whatever are we gonna do? Try that. No, that doesn't work either. How do we possibly get over there? Well, if you're paying close attention and have been also paying attention to the gimmick of this area, you might also notice this is bubbling at a slightly different pace. Do that, make your way here, and get the key. Now with that in mind, let us head to the boss. Here, yo, how's it going, Dylan? Yo, thank you for the good luck. Hope you're doing good. I'm doing good today. We're just we're going through Slipstream, the game I made that has a 10-year anniversary this year. We're big time celebrating. Go through here. And now for the Radiant Worm, Land Mola. And so obviously Hammer is strongest against this enemy, although you can also use Candle for just higher DPS. Kind of works out both ways. Right? And he dropped a 10. That is good. So we get the artifact here, and this will open up the Slipstream portals, which according to our map, we only have one. All fine and dandy. Now, we make our way to the Harbor Cavern. And so this area is a little bit harder than some of the other areas. But kind of the idea I had for this area is that if one area was a bit too hard, you could leave and go to a different area until you feel a bit stronger. Yes, Slipstream's 10-year, not stream anniversary. No, this year will be 7 years of streaming. Actually, it's close. It's getting close to 10. Almost there. Oh, so hi Leanne, how's it going? Yeah, Slipstream. Yeah, don't worry, your math is not getting confused. Alright, so welcome to the Harbor Town of Corral. For all residents, if you see ice blocks obscuring your way, pound away. This second text box, I believe, was added in the definitive edition. It was not here in the original version. In fact, I think it was added in an update for the definitive edition. Anne is the best Mario Party player in history. Debatable, but she's up there, I guess. So yeah, you can use the hammer that we just got in the previous area to break these ice blocks, and we also have an interesting looking ice block here and a nice little conveyor system. Interesting. Alright, so let's take a gander what we got here. Can't actually hurt him. And there are, oh, well. And there are also like some very rare special cases where some other items will just ignore the enemy. Not block technically, but will ignore the enemy, like so. And the logic here is that, you know, since he has a shield and is armored, that it's a bit more special. There's another enemy we cannot beat. Well, actually no, we can have the hammer. That is blue. Now we have two elements. We can technically defeat every enemy. We just cannot effectively defeat every enemy. Because, like, yeah, I would rather a better weapon against this than, especially since it doesn't do as good a damage. Which is an item that is better, but we're going to try to beat this area early on. Basically, John cheats. Oh, who was that? Who was that in the midst of all this danger? Ah, danger. Basically, Candle is going to be our friend here. Looks like we can level up again. Oh yeah, we can definitely level up again. John low-key cheats, I believe it. Who is this? Do my eyes deceive me? Another soul that's not a monster comes to greet me in my travels. Who are you? Isn't it dangerous to be out here? My name is Anton, not related to Wind Waker at all, but somehow subconsciously this ended up being foreshadowing to Josh's Wind Waker career. And I could say the same thing about you too. I'm here doing research on this here town. A long time ago, a group of survivors created a settlement here. In fact, I'm a descendant of them. Oh, really? What happened here? It seems to have been abandoned for some time. I don't know. Maybe monsters finally chased them out, or something else happened. But either way, I'm going to figure out what happened. Alrighty. Well, I'm looking for a girl and an older woman. Have you seen them around here? I'm afraid I haven't. Sorry. Okay, well, I'm going to look around here for them. Good luck on your search. You too, my friend. Alright, so this is also a character that was added in the Definitive Edition. I did not mean to viciously attack him there, but alas. Stalling some people. I mean, you know. You know. Oh yeah, I have to press a button for this. I will possibly die. That's okay. We have these houses we have these like teleporting houses. Oh, this is familiar. Also, you might notice on the map that there are no other Slipstream portals here. That sounds like him. Okay, unlike the other thing he was saying, that does sound more like me. We gotta be careful here. We have devious spikes. Wait. Oh. That we have avoided them. I don't like the position. So, and considering my current health predicament, this. Avoid him and press the button. Mind. Oh, I just didn't press the R button. Base. How long will I stay alive? Almost not long. These other enemies respawn? Probably. Or have. Oh, I could not get another candle hit out. That's okay though. This is meant to be a harder area to discourage you from getting here too early. Although there's nothing wrong with obviously beating it now. You're gonna find some areas harder than others. The idea is that if you do find an area that's too hard, like I said before, go to a different area that you might have unlocked. Or level up. Which, speaking of, we should do after I get this key. Yeah, we do need to do Mario Party again. Now that I've gotten this key, let's go do another level up. Definitely have plenty of money. And we will need this magic soon. Now our number is blue. How much do I need for the next one? Alright. Just do this. Same as using the crystal. Alright, so now let's go use our... This is a little jank here, having to like turn the hammer like that. You don't have to, but it's like the safest. Either way, go over here, and we get our new item. We got the Radiant Rod. Its blazing fire melts the coolest ice. Use the rod as a melee weapon and the magic as a projectile. So, interesting trivia here. This did not used to be 2 items. So yeah, as you can see, we already have our 2 slots for the radiant the radiant items, the red items. And so these are both technically the wand, and so you can use one just as the melee weapon, and of course you can use the fire as the actual magic, which does actually cost magic. So, fun fact about this: in the original contest version, it was just the fire magic. Like the wand was just the fire rod was just the fire rod, and it always shot fire. However, that was problematic because if you needed to use a red If you needed to use a red weapon for something, it wasn't really ideal because it wasn't very balanced because you had to use magic for it, and there wasn't a good alternative that didn't use magic for beating red and blue enemies. Which also, yes, we can now beat the Dark Nuts. And there was a second item here in the original version that has actually gotten removed now because it is no longer needed. So basically, the only thing you could do with the wand was use the fire magic, and if you wanted to use the melee only, then you had to run out of magic, which again wasn't really ideal. Then it wasn't really the most balanced of items. But now having the option of both gives you more of a... So now we can light that up to create this shortcut. Beat him, and conveniently he is holding a magic scroll which increases our magic ability. Also, another fun fact, there actually used to be a tile here that if you stood on it would refill your magic. However, I actually removed it to encourage people further to go up to the shop that I have actually not gone to yet, now that I'm thinking about it. So if we go into the shop that we can now get into, we see that it has a free magic refill. And we also have these other items here too. So we have a revive statue, which when you run out of HP, the statue will restore your life, but only once. So this is basically a fairy. Well, we'll go ahead and get this. Go ahead and just buy all these. This is free. What is this? The magic tome. Use it on the field to restore HP and magic at the cost of 10 stopwatches. So it is free to get. However, to use it, it will cost 10 stopwatches. And then here's this compass here. This chime will occur in rooms containing a map. So obviously this compass is added in the definitive edition because there were no maps in the original. These other three items though were in the original though. Alright, so with that in mind, I'll just move on. Alright. So now that we have the fire rod, take a gander at what this is. So this is ice. Let's use fire against it. Oh my goodness. Oh man. It did not go as far as it normally does. That's interesting. But yeah, there's a key hidden inside that ice. So now we can go back to where that was, which we did see the entrance to. Now we have a proper melee weapon. It's through here, yeah. We can get our key. I always was really proud of how this conveyor worked. It was basically like the ice got hit by the knockback of your weapon, and it knocks it into the conveyor. And then when you melt the ice for the key, then it comes to. Which that was one of the things about this area I really was happy about. Now we go back to where the other key door. Shortcut here. I don't remember if that shortcut was in the original, but it might not have been. Also, breaking that ice kills all the enemies in the room because this ice block is actually technically counts as an enemy. And so if you tried to damage tank through the enemy, it wouldn't work because this was solid. So basically, the game is looking for all the enemies to be defeated in order to let you through the thing. So that's why the ice block had to be counted as an enemy, and then defeat all the other enemies so that it would make sense as why when you melt this ice, you can now walk through it. It's a little weird and wonky, but for the time, it... Uh-oh. Might need the candle for this one. Only I had a green weapon. Right, well, there is the big key. Gonna go ahead and use the crystal to get out of here. And back over here, let's head on to the big door. Big boss. Which, speaking of green, that green boss is the Kinetic King Aquaman Shielded. Now, the shielded part of this description isn't really that accurate anymore. This boss used to be a basically a manhandler from original Zelda 1, but bigger. And so he had these orbs surrounding him, and you'd break the orbs. And the more orbs you broke, the faster he got. So it was basically that, but since all the bosses have been changed to be a bit fancier, that is no longer the case. It's not. I know. I am such a liar. We can say he's shielded in a coat of armor, like natural scale armor. I don't know. you take your pick. In any case, he's dead. He is no longer shielded. Either way, found an artifact. There doesn't seem to be any openings here. Maybe I should go explore elsewhere. So yeah, there's no openings here. We're just gonna take the artifact and we're gonna leave. So yeah, those are our current artifact count right now. This. Now let's backtrack, and our only other option now is the other portal in this area. That Chrono Trigger. The fire area, I actually don't know. I don't remember where the fire area's music is from. I actually don't remember. Oh, also have some actually no, I'm gonna wait on forget it, forget I say anything there. It's a secret. Oh, the victory theme. Yeah, the victory theme is from, I think it's from Chrono Cross, actually. Yeah, that one is a Chrono game. Alright, what awaits us over here? Oh, it's desert ruins. Also, levers. Leave her alone. Oh, okay, alright. Uh-oh. Man. Now we can actually defeat this enemy because we have other weapons other than just the purple one. Oh, is it also in Chrono Trigger? Oh, okay, I gotcha. I've never played either of those games, but I love their music. Well, we can't quite defeat all the enemies here because, well, actually we can't. So, interesting thing here. If you come here without the fire rod from the other area, that is okay because you will get the item we will get here is a long-range weapon meant to defeat this enemy. However, if you did come here with the fire rod, we can actually beat him, or we can actually reach him and deal the final blow to him and get to this little area early, which actually can kind of save you a little bit of time backtracking. It's a nice little thing for you to get her early, which was anticipated in development. That red square is for something later. Ooh. Alrighty. I get those levers out there. Very careful not to step into the quicksand or hit those. Make our way here. Backtrack back. If we go over here, another key. So now we have 2 keys. This is also the only instance, this is the only area in the entire game, I believe, where we could hold 3 keys at once. Fun fact. So another interesting bit of trivia for this area is that originally this so this quicksand you can actually drown in. I'll do it when I have more health, but you can drown in that sand right there. But in the original version, it looked a lot closer to these like conveyors here, except it was like way more jittery. But that made it like really hard to see and tell what was the sand you could drown in. And so in the definitive edition, it got changed to this, where it obviously looks way easier to see. So it makes that just a lot smoother. Because before it was like really hard to tell where you could stand and where, because the quicksand here would look like the these conveyor sands here. Oh, wrong item. I'm dead. I might actually be dead. Oh no. Okay. I don't think I'm surviving the next room though. Yeah, I'm probably not gonna be able to survive. Oh, right, I forgot I had the revive. Never mind. Well, there goes our revive. Navigate the skulls here to eventually get to the key. Get back here. And off we go. So there we go. There's our 3 keys. The only time we can hold 3 keys in the entire game. Here. Next door. And get the kinetic hand shooter. So we finally have a green weapon. This projectile weapon uses clock hands from stopwatches and shoots them like arrows. Sounds handy. They're so handy. Unfortunately, it does take your money. You have to be careful with it. Also, it shoots way faster because we got that upgrade, which is nice. So yeah, this hand shooter idea was also in that Majora's Mask inspired game. So I don't know. This basically is like using the original idea of the original Zelda, where your rupees use arrows, but this one takes it a bit more literally and takes the actual currency and uses them as the actual arrows. So you're using the hands in the stopwatches as literal arrows. I remember I was pretty happy with that idea when I originally came up with it back in the day. The only problem with it is I feel like since you have to use money to level up, oftentimes people felt very restrictive using it, like they only wanted to use it very sparingly, which I completely get. When I think about some of my test playthroughs, I kind of use it sparingly as well, unless I really need it. And that's hopefully another issue that will be addressed in other games. Cool. Now use our other key. So the bow can defeat that one fuck. Get out of here. So the hand shooter can be used to defeat that one Gibdo that was off in the distance that we couldn't reach, that we defeated with the fire rod. It's meant for you to use the hand shooter there, but you can use it. We were just able to get our key. We're gonna just randomly pull out the hammer because I wonder what the next boss will be. Alright, Radiant Necromancer, Lord Stalfos. Again, careful here, I don't have very good health. Once again, hammer is the strongest weapon we have against him, although candle is also good just for multiple hits. Candle ended up being kind of an OP weapon you just get right at the start because of its ability to hit multiple times. Oh, I don't know why I did that. Couldn't recommend cross with other guy in the battle system. I read that really late, by the way, but okay. So it's a pretty complex game. Developer, you died. I know, isn't that crazy? Well, we'll use a little mix here. Best time to use the hammer is when he's doing that attack there where he's standing still. Maybe get 3 hits off of him if you're enough, or you time it well. Yeah, definitely not when he's trying to do that attack there, because he kind of shoots that quickly. Quick hits here. Alright, cool. Oh, we also dropped a 20. Alright. Very cool. So we're done with this area. So we're going to go to the area to the right next. Before we do that, let's go ahead and level up. Level 6. We will now unlock another upgrade. Our next upgrade is to the right. Heal 1 HP at the cost of 1 MP, or heal 1.5 MP at the cost of half HP. So we can use 1 unit of health, or we can use 1 unit of magic to heal ourselves by 1 unit, or we can take half an orb of health in order to refill a bunch of magic. Majority of people usually get this one. I will choose this one as well. This can come very handy in boss fights. So it works just like that. And considering if you press the F6 button to go back to the start, considering that also just automatically refills your health, that's also something to consider with that as well. I know of people who, when they got if they got the blue one instead that heals your magic at the cost of your health, what they would do is they would use it here at the start and then press F6 to then continue and refill their health, which was an interesting strategy for sure. And it's a good way to refill magic since it is a little bit hard to get magic sometimes. So definitely a clever use of that one. Magic healing your heart so obviously is also very, especially during boss fights. Alright, so now we have this fancy raft to go around in the Banjo-Kazooie creeks here. So here's another fun bit of trivia here. Also, I didn't read this sign. Get your free newly made raft today, where you can embark on your raft and still use your weapons. What's best? You do not have to disembark off of docks. Feel free to use your raft any way you wish. Yes, this is a reference to the script that was used for the raft. So on purezc.net, which is the main website for Zelda Classic and the resources for it, there was a script for a raft, to implement a raft to obviously do this. But the original version of this script on the database was kind of broken, and I didn't realize it until during development of Slipstream, and by that point it was too late to really change it. But the original version of this could only go on the grid points of the map, and if you tried to exit off of the raft at anywhere other than the dock, it would like bug out and you wouldn't be able to get on it. Or actually, no, it wasn't even that. It's that if you drowned at the edge of the water, then you would just be stuck here on the edge of the screen. And so that was a big problem. Another big problem is you couldn't use your weapons on it. And so I think what happened, Moosh, the guy that made the script for it, after Slipstream was showcased at on the contest, like a month or so after the contest, the raft script was heavily updated, and now we have this much better raft by Moosh. So shoutouts to Moosh for updating the raft script to be much better and more versatile. So now we can actually use weapons on it, and we can move around. And if I get off the raft, or like let's say I come on the edge of the screen here like so, and I do this, the raft will just automatically go back to my position, which prevents any kind of soft lock. And so also like one glitch with the old script of this is that you could like manipulate it to where if you turn as you go onto the edge of the screen, you just start warping to the other end of the screen continually, which would make you jump to other areas out of bounds. And the way I prevented this from happening was I had on all the edges of each screen, like all the edges of each screen will actually warp you right back to the beginning if you activated that glitch. So all the edges of this screen, or all the edges of this area, if you hit the edge, it will warp you back to the start of the area to prevent you from getting stuck or soft locked. Which is no longer necessary because now the raft script is good. But back then it was definitely needed. Oh, can't activate that yet. I want to go there. Definitely want that. That is a sword that I most certainly want. Oh, why am I trying to purple with purple? Oh, a dead end. I also see a key there. Well, let's go all the way around the bend here. We basically have a full magical journey here on our raft to go all the way around the creek. We also reach here. That's where our boss is going to be. We activate that. That's a shortcut back to the beginning. And we basically do this whole journey to go all the way around just so we can get this key right here. We go all the way around the map just to get to the other side of this bridge and this island so we can end up here. What does this say? I actually don't remember. Likes will not hold on to you forever. Okay, yeah, so the likes here will grab you, and when they eat you, they will slowly drain your health. But they are also made to let go of you after a while, which was not usually common back in the day. Oh, nice. Developer, you died again. Go around here. Also, I think these are the only spikes in the entirety of this area. All that in here. Oh, nice sound for the map. Can't believe Dev is so bad at his own game. I know. Tell me about it. Try and get the map because we heard the sound. Oh, this is gonna be another dead end, it seems. Got our key here. Got our keys that we need. Let's just do. Also need to remember I can heal now. I want to go get my sword. So it's 1 key, 2 keys, and 3. And oh, we saw those bushes appear right behind us, but we finally got our sword, which usually the sword being the main weapon in 99% of ZC games. It's now heading all the way back here, and we can also get health and magic out of the grass. We cannot get stopwatches out of the grass though. I made it to where you cannot just grind grass to get all the way to max level. Nope, you gotta earn it by defeating it. Just finding random stopwatches strategically placed in that motorcycle actually made me jump into grind grass. Bad. Yeah, now we can get free refills out of the grass for our health. Oh, a hidden key under the grass too. Man. Down here. That button so we can then go around, get this key. This key was blocked off before. Hopefully get some like so. Good. Want to go down here? Yeah, we want to go down. These are another good example of enemies that get one hit by their element. Hey, ow. Oh, come on. Come on now. Get a little tour from each element here. So also another thing to note here. For the majority of areas, except for I think it's 5 out of the 8 areas, they all have 3 out of the 4 elements. So there's like one element maybe that's more focused in a certain area, and then one element that's just completely missing from an area. This is to kind of just give a bit more variety in the different colors you see as you go into different areas. Alright, now we got the key. I won't cheat by pressing F6. Do this the real way. And that portal earlier to go here. And so now you might be wondering what the color of this boss is going to be, what element it will use. And in fact, it is actually Metamorphic Insect Moldorm Prime. It is actually going to use all of them. This Moldorm is going to go through Metamorphosis to change its element. And it's sneaky, sneaky. Well, it's going to start out as a purple enemy. Hey, now it's blue. Man. Getting the all-star boss here. And also wonky hitboxes. Yes, I am aware the hitboxes are the... It's an old game. Actually, you know what? It'd be better if I just do this. So this particular version, yeah, that attack right there where the Moldorm is standing in place and doing the rapid fire there. That is mainly so that you have an open window to use the hammer. Otherwise, the hammer would be very awkward to use because of its slow attack speed. Yeah, it just gives you an open hammer if you really use the weapons that are most effective against each weapon. Uh-oh. This one is super fast. Full of energy, as they say. That note sound. There we go. There we go. Not bad. So yeah, another dead end here. Let's make our way back out. Alright, and before we go to the next area, we want to go back and collect one thing that we have missed. Here in this area. Actually, 2 things. Well, actually no, not 1 thing. Don't worry about certain other collectibles when we actually get the... Also, can we level up? I think we level up. On my arrows here. There we go. He usually spawns there most of... But if we knock him out with a quick hit, he will actually drop a life scroll and have more life. Let's go see if I can level up. Maybe I'm 1 off. Who knows? I think this is 7. If I remember correctly. No, this one's 60. Even better. Get another magic scroll. Next one, I believe, is 70. Yeah. Oh wait, no, I actually do want to go. Now instead of going right, let's go left. I think there's any other trick I can remember. Area, not too much particularly, I don't think. There are random pots slash skulls you can break when you have sword, of course. Just all prep you for when you have sword. Alright. So this area has some interesting lore. So obviously you can hear from the music and see from the setting. It is very similar, yes, to Donkey Kong Country's aquatic ambience level. Even has the same music. Though there is some extra inspiration for this and in very unusual way. So you notice we have this little mermaid outfit. So back when I was making this game, I was slightly inspired by one thing from Kingdom Hearts, and this was before I played the Kingdom Hearts games, like 2 years before that. And I remember when I was really young, I think I watched my cousin play a little bit of it, and what always stuck out to me was when he would go through the different worlds, the different Disney worlds. Some of the worlds would have unique costumes for different areas. So like obviously you think of the Atlantica world where you have the flippers and whatnot, and then other areas where you have different designs on you, like in Halloween Town. So like that idea kind of presented itself here, and it is ironic because when I actually finally played Kingdom Hearts, I realized that Atlantica was one of the worst areas. And incidentally enough, this is probably one of my least favorite areas in the game as well, so I don't know, it kind of carried that curse, I suppose. So the way this effect works with the water, you can notice if I don't hold any button, you sink down automatically. These use conveyors, which basically just pull you down, so it gives off the illusion that we're in side view and that you are getting pulled down by gravity, but really what's under the hood is these use conveyors. And in the original version of this game, there was not just regular flooring on the edge of the screen like we see here. Like you see that after a certain point when you get close to the edge of the screen, you stop. And that is because if I don't do that, then things get kind of buggy to where it's like really hard to go on the top screen. So like if I was wanting to go up in the original version, I'd have to go up and maybe get pulled back down here and then maybe like keep holding up just to struggle to go up a screen because the conveyors are pushing you. Which is no longer the case because now it's been foolproof by having stuff check at the edge of the screen. Alright, uh-oh. Be careful not to get hit by those guys. They can actually take your magic. The blobs can. Which the blobs in the first area also take your magic, but it's a very minuscule amount. I believe you have... Yes, you have a magic scroll. So now we have 6 magic scrolls, which is the original max amount of magic scrolls in the original game. Button there. We also heard that the map is in that area. This room in here, yeah, under the sea, under the sea, under. Okay, alright. So this is my favorite room in this entire area. Basically, have this guy over here, but we have something going on over there to the left too. So let's go ahead and defeat this guy. Oh, there's the key. Oh no, we didn't get the key. Oh no. Oh no. Well, now that we know, let's go back in here. Make sure we're ready when we defeat this guy next. There we go. Yeah, now we were ready for the key time. So yeah, you gotta go catch the key before it falls down. In my personal opinion, that's one of the cooler things I did for this area. Probably the coolest I did in this area. Up there. We do have a Slipstream portal here. This is not a dead end. Well, now that we pushed a bunch of buttons to get to certain places now, let us go do just that. I wouldn't. We're getting to a certain point now where the amount of items we have would be really nice to have 2 extra equipable buttons, which we do have in newer ZC versions, but that did not exist back in the day. So that ice block over there to the right did not exist in the original version because it actually contains a collectible that was not in the original. I'll go ahead and just show it just to give some suspense maybe for whenever we do the post game in maybe a separate video, I don't know. But if we do that, we find a sphere. What does it do? I don't know. Bunch of we got a nice higher drops. The harder areas you go into, the higher the money drops are. And we finally have the aquatic bombs. You deal extreme damage with these water bombs. You can carry 4 of them. So yeah, now if you recognize the random like blue orb drops we get from some enemies, that is what the bombs are. This item right here. Now blow up certain things with water. Who needs water guns when you have a water bomb? We also had a key here. Now we can use our said bomb to go over here and to break this thing. Hopefully hit this purple enemy. No. Well, every now and then you can hit that purple enemy there, and it makes it very convenient for getting through here. Because despite the bombs being water damage, they still do a lot more damage than most other items. Yo, Grovile, how's it going? Don't die. I may or may not have died a few times, but it's okay. Also, I kind of cheesed that there without even thinking about it. But basically, the big key is hidden here in the dark. You can kind of see it. The intended strategy is for you to come down around here, then go up here, and grab it here. For some reason, grabbing it from the left, which is definitely harder in general. Like sometimes will make it to where you fall into the spike while holding the key, which definitely is very jank. I don't remember if I actually ever even looked into a way to fix that. Basically encourage you to go the correct way, which is not the most ideal way of developing that, but oh well. We chillin'? Excellent. Good to hear. Good to hear. Okay, well, we can actually level up again, and I believe we might get some life. Oh, it's 80. Oh, okay. I did not know my own game. I'm gonna use the healing thing here. And then get this. There we go. Oh, whoops. Get out of here. Get out of here. Oh, no, just buy it again. Very good. Yo, David Nader Gameplays, I believe it is. Yo, welcome everyone. Thank you for the raid. hope your stream was good. Oh, you were also doing Zelda Classic. Nice. Well, welcome everyone. We are doing a developer commentary playthrough of my game called the Slipstream, which came out 10 years ago as of August 14th. Which is a day in the future, but I'm going to be uploading a video of this said playthrough on August 14th. So, yeah, we're having some celebration here for 10 years of this game. Why am I going this way? I know my game. I know my game. Oh, no, I actually did want to go that way. I'm getting my order confused. Hooray! I'm gonna go there to actually fight the boss. E2do. But you know what? That also works too. The weird music. I don't know if anyone else does that. Right. So we get the aquatic and confused anglerfish. The anglerfish is just about as bad in this game as he is in Link's Awakening, though more self-aware of the fact that he is confused. So of course, red does the most damage here. Fire versus water. And we made quick work of him. Nice. And got another artifact. Here we go. Back down. I'll grind out for more magic here in a bit. But the next area will have plenty of grass to break, so without further ado, let us make our way to the next area, which we call the Moon Meadows. This area looks pretty difficult. I should make sure I'm prepared before I venture here. Alright, so some trivia for this area while I try to get magic. Alright. Gravity is light in this area. Alright, so the gimmick of this area is that it is a moon-like area, and you know, gravity is light on the moon. So if you press the EX3 button as described over here, this shows EX3, which is referring to said button, we can actually jump in this area specifically. So this area involves a lot of jumping. So also another interesting thing about the development thus far at this point. So when I was developing, I was doing the areas kind of in order. I mean, obviously there's some that can be done in any order, but basically when I got to this point in the game, I just finished the water area over here. I was kind of getting to the point where I felt like I was almost running out of ideas, or feeling like, or worrying rather, that maybe some of the areas were turning out maybe a bit too similar to each other, as in like, you know, press a button to get over here, or get this key here, etc. But when I got to this area, it felt a lot more unique compared to the other areas, and the idea, and I had a lot of ideas for this area too. So doing this area next after this other area back here actually helped motivate me even more to finish. So this area to me has always been a lot stronger than the last area, and there's a lot more going on here than the other area. Incidentally enough, this is also probably my favorite area in the entire game that I made. Also, the enemy selection here used to be different in the original version as well. These blue little bubbles here did not used to be here, but now they are. And there's another enemy I can say the same thing about. Well, what is that hidden in the tree? That's a relic. That'll be essential for leveling up past level 9. Which, in the original contest version, the max level was level 9, which, speaking of which, let's just go level up now. The max level was level 9. However, for the post game of the definitive edition, it goes up even higher than that. But you actually cannot level up past level 9 until you get into post game. So basically, like, until you get the post game, the game essentially acts like a highly updated and polished version of the contest version, which is why I kind of kept things like leveling up to level 9 until you get the post game the same. So you can't get the post game levels, actually get the post game. Also, we got a life scroll, and I believe since this is the last level, it'll be 100. Yeah, it's 100. Which is the max our wallet can hold for now. That does increase in post game, but it, of course, in the original it was always 100. Go down here, we see a big pit here, and we also see a key that we definitely cannot get to. I say definitely in that manner for a certain reason, but again, we'll get to that later. These fire ghost enemies did not also used to be in the original either. This area used to only have Sliptonite and kinetic enemies, so basically the green and the purple enemies, and that was kind of an issue because it further encouraged you to use these two items in conjunction with each other. Because using sword and candle was just really broken once you kind of realize that, because they both deal a lot of quick damage to each enemy. So like, regardless of what element an enemy has, these two weapons are always good against them. And having this area only be kinetic and Sliptonite enemies like further encouraged that. So just for more variety of enemies, I added the radiant and aquatic enemies as well, the red and blue. I originally didn't want the red and blue enemies here because my idea was that my thought process rather was that there can't be any red or blue enemies here because the moon does not have oxygen, which is kind of silly considering that you can still use blue weapons and red weapons or whatever. But I don't know, that was just a thought I had back in the day, which I kind of dropped that idea eventually. So no, we can't be Louis Armstrong on the moon and oxygen. I am losing oxygen. Okay. Bonus points if you know the reference. Also, we have a boomerang there. Our last item, it seems. Also, God, I can fall in pits now. Okay. On an enemy down here. On down here. There are goodies on this screen. Very good. That platform over there kind of implies there might be a life scroll. Back here. Yeah, so you want to be careful how you defeat this enemy, because you might either get that this enemy might be in the wall or over the pit. You want to be careful how you defeat this enemy. But in that case, that is also our last life scroll for the main game. So now, at least by contest and main story standards, this was what max health and max MP was. Oh, interesting. That is not open. Let's go find a way to do that. We also have another path over here, so head over here. There's that switch we saw in the swamp area. That must be what we use for the boomerang. Oh, Oh, I should have used the healing. Is when you get a big magic drop like that, some of the healing to refund magic won't. Bombs are a really good item to use against obvious reason. Up here. Right. Want to be careful on these platforms. These platforms, if you walk on them much, they will break. That's the wrong. So silly me. I missed. Die. Here. There we go. There we go. You do get stuck in the door kind of if you respawn as well, because the way I made these doors was that when you walked in, a conveyor will push you out of the way, and then the door will appear a couple of frames after you enter the area. So in pretty much majority of other quests that use these shutter doors like this, it would be done with the script, but that is actually completely all in engine. The conveyors pushing. Alright, so here we press this button to be able to get to the key. Now I will also show off something else here, and this is also going to be a small shout out to the speed. But I knew for a very long time that there was actually a way to get to this key without pushing the button. This is the normal way of doing this, is doing this bit of platforming here, reaching the key. But there is another way to get over here, and that is if you just go to the edge here and land on these corners. Barely just land on to reach the key without actually pressing the button. Which is probably what I would consider the original first skip that got found for the game. And that was really the only skip in this whole game for a long time, until Chef Bear came along in 2021 and found a bunch of new glitches and sequence breaks that completely opened up the speedrun. So shout out to Chef Bear for making the speedrun of this game what it is today. Oh yeah, we have a key now. So let's go use our key. Get this boomerang. You got the Slipstream boomerang. You can stun regular enemies, damage kinetic enemies, and block most types of projectiles. It also uses a teeny tiny bit of magic, which the original version of this boomerang in the original game did not use magic, but in the definitive version I made it to where it uses magic, just because there was a lack of magic items in the game. Which that's another kind of downfall of that I think the game has personally, because magic is kind of underutilized and is a bit imbalanced in general. I mean, it's there. It works for what it does. I definitely think it could have been maybe fixed up a bit more, but either way, the boomerang was made to where it uses magic in order for magic to be. Also, in the original, it would go all the way to the edge of the screen and not even return back to you. That is still in the definitive edition, but that got pushed to the upgrade of the boomerang that you get in the post game instead, which is why the boomerang also just got a straight up nerf. And while I was yapping, I was not paying attention where I was going. Oh yeah, so I hit that crystal thing up here with the purple boomerang. And by doing that, it activated those green portals. Okay. I survived. Yeah, there we go. Very nice. So now we can get over here. Alright. Work with these guys. Go jump and drop the bomb. Oh, nice. Got the double kill. Very good. Alright, so now that we have the key, way back. Yeah, and also overall, this area had had much more of an interesting layout to it as well. At least I thought so compared to some of the other areas. That was also another reason. I was also happy with how I got the coloring to this area in general, and like matching it with this kind of red color, the interior like spots. The Dig Dogger is ticklish to magic. Yeah, very interesting use of words there, but but basically the idea is that you can use the boomerang to reflect back the magic that this boss does, stun the boss, which I believe still works with the new version of this boss. It definitely worked on the old version. Now I'm actually kind of questioning whether or not it actually was a thing. Oh, no, it actually isn't a thing anymore. Got removed. I do not remember. Huh. Okay, that was that. I guess that text was more relevant in the original version. Yeah, no, that doesn't stun him anymore. Oh, rip. I didn't realize that message was just straight up out of date now. Interesting. I guess that was an oversight then. Because I hadn't really like in any test playthrough or speedrun or whatnot, I never really like done that before. I guess it's just no longer a thing, which is okay, but it does make that text box right outside the boss a bit confusing. Anyway, speaking of the boss, he's dead. You do have to be careful where you're walking, otherwise you might fall. Oh no. Alright, so we have every artifact except for one more. And if you've been doing your counting, and remember the description said there were 8 areas, we are coming up to the last area. Gonna be just beyond this door. I'm gonna kind of get ready here for this next area. So we have a little, we have a bit of a combat room here, and this has like 2 of each enemy essentially. This is probably the biggest combat room in the entire game, as far as like basic enemies go. That's not a boss. Of a test before we go to the final area. But if you've been leveling up and been preparing pretty well, then you can make pretty good work of these enemies. Alright. Okie dokie. There we go. Also, by defeating these enemies, we actually open up this portal here. Portal goes all the way back to the beginning. Wow, incredible. If we take the portal again, we go here. Do it again, we end up here. So yeah, we got a little bit of a, we now have a warp system. Kind of a basic warp system. but a warp system nonetheless. So it helps a little bit with travel, fortunately. Also, a little fun fact on the inner workings here. This is the only screen in the game that uses the boss clear flag, I believe it's called, or something like that in ZZ's engine. Which essentially tells the game that when all the enemies are defeated in here, when you re-enter the screen, do not respawn the enemy. So once all the enemies are defeated in here, the enemies in this screen do not return. This is the only screen in the game that uses that flag, I believe, and I believe it's like one of the only times I've ever used it in general. Alright, and so this screen is a this screen is an artifact check. The screen will make sure that you the screen is essentially making sure that you have gotten all the artifacts, and if you've gotten all the artifacts, then we shall proceed into the end stream. And no, this doesn't mean I'm ending the stream. Anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. Okay. Yeah, and so those bomb shoes are a bit more powerful. Also, that 10 allows us to do our final level up for the final area. Just that. Now we've reached level 9, we can go get another upgrade at the upgrade station. 1 in 5 chance to do double damage with your sword, rod, and hammer, or have double defense when down to 6 life orbs. So I believe in the original, it was more plainly like do double damage with certain weapons, or just have double defense in general. They got nerfed into more specific abilities here, since now we have a post game afterwards as well, and so now it kind of balances more with the game. That's also where a lot of nerfs come into play as well between the original and the definitive edition. Is that in the original there's no post game, so obviously I can give away anything that's like maybe a bit overpowered at the end, since I mean game, but considering this is really the halfway point if you do all the post game. Items have been balanced a bit more in favor of that, and also even like money drops have been favored a bit more in balance to consider the post game. So like a lot of the nerfs are really just in consideration for the post game as well afterwards. But I do believe I'm going to keep consistent with us getting the red upgrades here, and go by my original name, Red Tribe Link, and get another red item. So that's basically just the it basically does critical damage. It's a crit hit, more or less. We have like a yeah, what was it, like a 1 in 5 chance to do a critical hit with certain weapons. Also, welcome to a review. Also, I haven't really mentioned this at all, I don't think, but you might have noticed in each area there's these blocks with the Roman numeral 2. Those are for post game. Hence, could probably imagine or speculate or guess that those 2 blocks were not in the original game because it relates to post game. Yeah, fun stuff. Careful, and this is also where the boomerang comes really handy, because you can use it to break the yeah, well, for one, you can also stun. 2, you can use it to break the bond. Yeah, like that. There we go. Want to go? Well, here oh, it's quicksand. We cannot go up there. So yeah, this like little like jittery animation is more so what the quicksand looked like in the desert area. Is what I was describing earlier. Oh, we get another block maze like we had in that one area. Neat, very neat. Roll back to the harbor town in this one. The block maze is a little bit more tricky. Push that button to open that up. Yeah. Careful which one you... use something like that. I can't remember exactly. Also, just another maybe foreshadow of the post game. There's another here. But what does it do? Nose. Oh, the map is here. Alright. Oh, there's another Slipstream portal, though. Is it the end? And find out soon, but first we have to press another button. I believe there's another path you can possibly take here. Yeah, like this. There's a number of different common take this maze. Now this is a conveyor, we can use it. Get through here. Oh, what's this ice block doing? I don't know, but it follows you every direction you go. That's kind of crazy. Oh. Wow, what's going on here? Oh, now it turned into an actual ice block. And just for reference, it also doesn't follow us anymore. But it has a key in it. However, if I break the ice, I can't actually get to the key because this is actually solid, this thing. And it also hurts you. So what we have to do is we have to navigate this purple block before it turns into an ice block all the way around here. Way through. There we go. Boom. And there we get the key. So, fun fact about this area. So during the contest, I believe I finished the game in ZC version 2.5.1. However, if you played it on ZC version 2.5.0, it played well until you got to this area right here. And when you got to this area on other versions of ZC, the game would crash. It would crash just when you enter the screen. Why? I don't know. No earthly clue, but the screen would actually crash on earlier versions of ZC. And when I released the definitive edition, someone else ran into that same thing playing on an older version. Hence, why I added at the very beginning of the game what version what version this game was made on, and to play on any version, or to play on that version or something higher. In our case, we're playing on a version that's higher, but definitely want to play on any version above ZC 2.53 or above. Did I say above and then above? I don't know. On 2.53 or above. But really, I mean, realistically, you'll want to play on either 2.55 or 3. Because 2.5, 2.53, those are all very outdated. In any case, long story short, older versions would crash in this room. Not new versions. Also, good evening, Brownie. How's it going? Some of that Mario Galaxy music that sends you back to go to... Yeah, it does have that effect, doesn't it? Good old Mario Galaxy. That game. Alright, so now we're coming up to probably what I consider the worst room I made in this game. This is probably my least favorite room in the entire game. Mainly just because it's kinda jank. But it's a combat room with a bunch of breakable floor tiles. I feel like it's a decent idea in practice, but it's very restrictive, and yeah, you can get stuck here. You have to like make sure you defeat these enemies without breaking too many floor pads so that you can actually get up to that room above and get to where the key spawns. Okay. There we go. Oh, wait. Go, and then boom. Yeah, just like that. And then we get the key, and we're also gonna make our way up to this room. This room has another one of those relics that we found earlier behind that tree. So if we got here before we actually made it to the max level of 9, there would actually be a 9 blocking here, making us, basically telling us to be at level 9 before we can get that relic. In the original version of the game, that used to be another radiant item. It used to be like a cane of Burna, where it would do, or except it was like even more powerful, but it would essentially do four fireballs that surrounded you, and it did like even more damage than some of the other weapons. It was a really overpowered weapon that you could use, but it got replaced in favor of the rod and magic combo, to where you can use them separately. And also it just didn't balance very well for the game. It would have been too powerful, so it unfortunately got removed in the definitive. So all this grandeur for a relic now in the definitive edition, but that's okay because relics are important in the post game. But with that out of the way, now we can see what the boss is. Definitely not equipping this rod for no reason. No, okay. Aquatic Gatekeeper, and we also don't even have boss music here. Although I think I remember at one point I was looking in the editor at one point, and apparently there might have been a script on here to have the enemy music, but it doesn't work for some reason. I don't know. There were weird things in this game during development that just didn't work for very unusual, inconsistent. And I don't really know why. And there it is, our final artifact, to then open up our last Slipstream portal here, where we will now head into the final fight. Well, will you look at this? Someone finally fought their way into the end stream. What I've seen, you're here for them. That young girl and the older lady. It's the people we've been looking for. You took them, didn't you? Where are they? Why did you take them? Well, you see, I've been trapped in the Slipstream for over 50 years. I've been fighting to get out and back to my family. The only way to get out is for someone born of the lineage that created the Slipstream to enter the end stream and summon the exit. We had to be somewhere in this world. I then figured out how to send monsters out of the Slipstream from here and pull people in. Also, he sent the monsters out that kidnapped our best friend and grandmother. That was my best chance of finding him. Finding you. Man, what are you talking about? Are you saying I can get everyone out of the Slipstream? Yes. That's why I kidnapped the people closest to you when I figured out who you were. I knew I got lucky when you jumped in the stream. You're going to get me out of this prison of torment, and then you can see your friends and family. No, I can't let you do this. You released all those monsters on the world. I can't let you go. That's how you want to be. Very well then. I'll get you to do it myself. Darton, the Wanderer. So, fun fact, in the original version, his title did not used to be the Wanderer, but it was actually Lord of the Slipstream. But that got changed in the definitive edition due to certain lore changes. Oh, retconning. Music sounds a bit odd in this sound font. I'm using a sound font called Arachno, which makes the midis generally sound better. Oh, it sounds good on this part. Yes, a battle to the death. Yeah, a lot of item management here. This is where, again, it would be nice to be able to have 4 buttons for items. But we did not have this back in the day when this originally was made, so... Also, he is like one of the only enemies in the entire game, Sharton is, that does not actually have a dedicated element. So really it really is just use whatever weapon you can against them while elemental enemies bombard you. But that is also the fight. He can technically hit you while he's exploding in his death there. So yeah, basically the enemies spawning there were just so that you can still take advantage of the elemental system there at the very end. Those enemies will only die from their weak element. They will not get hit by any other element. So it's really just a test of how well you can use the elemental system. And I'm trying to think. Also, Sharton's health there got dramatically nerfed in one of the patches in the definitive edition. He used to have a lot more health than that. Typical cheap NES death, yeah. Yeah, pretty simple fight at the end, but this was made during a contest, so it needed to be a pretty simple fight. Sarah! Also, there's Sarah! There's our best friend! Hirota, you found me! So glad you're safe. Where's my grandmother? I don't know. Sorry, we got separated. That man was going to take her, but I took her place. Hirota, I'm glad to see you. I'm sorry you got pulled into the portal. I didn't. I jumped in to rescue you two. What? I mean, I appreciate it, but you didn't have to do that. Yes, I did. I would do anything for you two. When you find your grandmother, what are we going to do? We can't go back home. Actually, can. I mean, according to that man, I can get us and everybody out of the Slipstream. Before that can happen, we need to find her. There's a refuge camp we can go to. Let's start there. So before I advance the text here, a little trivia. In the original version, after this, it says to be continued. In the definitive edition, you'll see what happens. We'll get the title screen, and we'll get the start of the post game, and some foreshadowing for stuff later. But it won't. But spoilers: the post game will not tell the full story. It just kind of sets you up for the next story for a possible sequel. Okay. So yeah, this little cliffhanger where Grandma is not here, but only your best friend. I decided to do that at the last second in order to make the ending a bit more interesting. Because I felt like finding both your best friend and grandmother there at the same time, I don't know, it just felt like it was going to be very generic. But this way, it was a nice little cliffhanger. And I was like, well, I'll just finish the story later, you know, it's just typical answer. There has not been a sequel made yet, but more on that later. The Slipstream. Here you go. And that is the main story of the Slipstream. And now all these cutscenes here, these are only in the definitive edition. This cutscene onward was not in the definitive edition because this is prepping for a post game. Ah, here it is, the portal to the Zeta sector. Entirely new set of areas. That is where I am taking you. Why are you doing this? Who are you? All in due time. Now I must ask you to open this sealed portal. An old lady like myself going to do that. Can I do it for you? You know by now, you're a descendant of the creators of this Slipstream. Open this with your mind. Legends of my lineage are true. Do not open this portal for me. I will find your grandson and kill him. Didn't know he is here in the film. Alright, I'll do it. My grandson. Excellent. We're going as planned. Oh yeah, so we saw this special little Slipstream portal at the beginning of the game, which, again, was not in the original version. But now this Slipstream portal is open. Not before. Part 2. Being the post-game. Good to see that you found your friend. I'm just glad you're safe, Sarah. Me too. I just hope your grandmother is. About that, I just received word from one of our settlers gathering supplies in the place I found you. Word is that he saw an elderly lady and an oddly robed figure at the sealed, sparkling portal. It was opened as they went through. Or it was opened and they went through. That could be her. I have to go check it out. I'll come with you. Actually, I want you to stay here. What? Well, why not? I don't want to put you in any more danger than you've already been. I'll be fine. I fought off Sharton fairly well. I just want to guarantee your safety. Listen, nowhere in the Slipstream is safe. Even here. I just think it would be better if I'm with you. Alright, that sounds good. At the very least, someone I trust has my back. Alright, this is it. We determined this portal takes you to a whole new sector of the Slipstream. Guessing it'll be too far away from the refuge. So, we won't be able to use the crystal to come back to the refuge? We're on our own. I wish you luck, Rhoda and Sarah. There you go. That's the cliffhanger. Welcome to part 2. You have entered post-game content. A new upgrade building has been opened in the refuge. New max level of part 2 is now 18 and not 9. In order to level up past level 9, you need to collect relics hidden throughout the Slipstream. All 2 blocks now lead to new areas, hidden bosses are now available, and new people have arrived in town. So all sorts of fun stuff. So yeah, basically, like, I wanted to add a post game to get more use out of the items you have here, and to just, I don't know, just to get more out of what was already presented here. You don't really have like any like super big challenging things where you get to use all of your gear. So that's kind of what the post game does. It has some extra challenges to like really challenge your knowledge here and your skill sets with these weapons. Also, another fun fact here, this portal actually did used to lead somewhere. I mean, it technically leads to unused areas, because originally I was going to have it to where after you beat the game, a secondary portion of the game opens up, which would continue the story to find Grandma. So you'd go through this portal and you would go to try to find Grandma in some new areas. I ended up dropping that idea because I don't know, just the newer areas were just hard to balance with the original game here, and I also kind of just wanted to leave the original game in its own space. I don't know, because it would have otherwise required me to change too much compromise for new gameplay and new items in the further area down here. So instead of doing that, my idea was basically to instead make an actual sequel and just have a post game here where I get the most out of this world that I can before we So that's basically where we're at there. So now we're in the post game, and I do believe I will show off the post game at another time. But for now, for the actual 10-year anniversary date, this has been the main story. I mean, this essentially covers all that was in the original contest as well. So it seems very fitting also to end it here for the 10-year. But I will eventually make a part 2 to this to also show the post game. Because the post game also does have its own lore too, and the post game will take a bit to but But yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this deep dive, and probably in the post game as well. I might try to cover anything I may have missed in this part, and also maybe cover even more lore or more deep lore, and even look into the editor as well. Something neat you wish more devs did: give you post game stuff that makes you use the least popular items in a unique. Yeah, it's always really cool when devs do that. So it's always very cool when you get to get more out of the game. Otherwise, would kind of like extra challenges, something to deepen the just deepen the game a bit more, give a bit more to it. But yeah, there's a lot of secrets to be found. I already kind of teased some of the collectibles we get in the post game with the spheres and the relics we use for leveling up. But yes, there's also one item we never got here in the gray box. That will also be shown in the post game as well. So yeah, happy 10th anniversary to Slipstream. And yeah, if you've seen, of course, the other video I'm going to be linking for the anniversary, you will see that yes, there is a sequel being worked on, and so I hope you look forward to that. So without further ado, if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you for watching. Again, happy 10 years of Slipstream. I seriously cannot believe it's been that long. It's just crazy thinking back to how long it's been. And yeah, well, can't believe we're here. I'm sorry the sequel has not been released yet, but it is in heavy development, so looking forward to it. Yeah, take care everyone. Have a good night.